All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going deep on biohacking. We've got a ton of research articles on how to use science and tech to improve our health and performance.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about taking control of your own health and well-being.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that we'll be talking about simple things like improving sleep
Right.
to more complex things like nootropics and even intermittent fasting.
It's all about figuring out what works best for you personally.
Hmm.
Everybody's different, so there's no one-size-fits-all approach to biohacking.
Absolutely. So it's like creating a personalized owner's manual for your health.
Precisely. And it all starts with something called self-experimentation,
Right.
which is really the core of biohacking.
Okay, so what does that look like? Like, how do you actually do that?
Well, think of it as becoming a scientist in your own life.
Mm.
Like if you want to improve your sleep,
Mm-hmm.
you could start by tracking your sleep patterns.
Mm.
Experiment with different bedtime routines
Right.
and see how things like room temperature, screen time before bed affect your sleep quality.
So you're saying it's like testing different things out and seeing what works best for you.
Exactly, and that's where tech can be a huge help. Wearables like the Aura Ring or Fitbit can give you so much data about your body.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I love using my Fitbit to track my sleep and see how different things affect it.
Exactly. You can see how your deep sleep is affected by a late night workout or even a late dinner.
That's so cool. It's like having a secret window into how your body works.
Speaking of sleep, that's one of the most fundamental things you can hack for better health. Optimizing your sleep is like building the foundation for everything else.
It's true. And I noticed in the research that there are a bunch of techniques for improving sleep, like controlling your sleep environment.
Yeah.
Things like using blackout curtains, keeping the room cool, or even trying a weighted blanket.
Those techniques work by tapping into your body's natural rhythms, you know, like your circadian rhythm.
Okay, wait, can we back up a second?
Okay.
What exactly is our circadian rhythm and why is it so important for sleep?
Well, your circadian rhythm is basically your body's internal clock. It's a 24-hour cycle that regulates all kinds of processes like your sleep-wake cycle, hormone release, even your body temperature.
So it's like our body's natural timekeeper.
Exactly. And when your circadian rhythm is in sync, you naturally feel more alert during the day and sleep better at night.
Gotcha. So those little tweaks to our sleep environment are actually helping to keep our internal clock running smoothly.
Exactly. It's all about working with your body, not against it.
I like that. Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about nootropics. People call them smart drugs, but I'm not really sure what they are or how they work.
Nootropics are basically substances that enhance your cognitive function. Things like improving your focus, memory, mental clarity, even your mood.
Interesting. And there are both natural and synthetic options, right?
Right. Like caffeine.
Yeah.
Caffeine is actually a classic nootropic.
Mm.
It works by blocking adenosine receptors in the brain, which promotes wakefulness.
Oh, I didn't know. I just knew it helped me wake up in the morning.
Well, there you go. And then you've got things like L-theanine,
Hmm?
which is an amino acid found in green tea. It promotes relaxation and focus at the same time.
That's really interesting. So are nootropics like a magic pill or something?
No, not really.
Mm-hmm.
They work best when you combine them with a healthy lifestyle.
So you're saying it's not a substitute for good sleep, diet, and exercise?
Exactly. It's
Uh,
more about enhancing those healthy habits.
Makes sense. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about is intermittent fasting. It seems like everyone's doing it these days, but is it really all it's cracked up to be?
Well, intermittent fasting is definitely more than just a fad. It involves cycling between periods of eating and fasting. And research shows that it can have some pretty amazing benefits for both your physical and mental health.
Like, what kind of benefits are we talking about here?
Well, for starters, studies have shown that intermittent fasting can be a powerful tool for losing weight, improving your metabolic health,
Hmm.
and even increasing longevity.
Wow, that's a lot. So how does just changing when you eat lead to all of those benefits?
Basically, it gives your body a break from constantly digesting food.
Hmm.
This allows it to focus on other important processes like cellular repair and detoxification.
Oh, I see. So it's like giving your body a chance to reset and focus on maintenance.
Precisely. And one of the key processes that gets activated during fasting is something called autophagy.
Autophagy. What's that?
It's basically your body's internal recycling system.
Yeah.
When you fast, your cells start to break down and recycle old or damaged components.
So it's like a cellular detox.
You could say that.
Hmm.
And this process of autophagy has been linked to all sorts of benefits like reduced inflammation, improved insulin sensitivity, and even protection against neurodegenerative diseases.
Wow, I never realized that just changing when we eat could have such a big impact on our cells.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, right?
It is. So it's not just about forcing our bodies to do something they weren't designed to do. It's more about working with our natural systems
Exactly.
to unlock our full potential.
Exactly. Now, it's important to remember that intermittent fasting isn't for everyone. It can be really beneficial for some people, but it can also be challenging for others, especially people with certain health conditions or a history of disordered eating.
That's a good point. So it's important to do your research and talk to your doctor before trying it out.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of things that are important for our health, we often overlook the mental side of things. Stress management is just as important as any physical intervention.
You're so right. We can't just focus on our bodies. We have to take care of our minds too.
Exactly. And some of the most effective stress-reducing techniques are surprisingly simple.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples.
Well, things like meditation, deep breathing exercises, and practicing mindfulness, these might seem basic, but they can have a huge impact on your mental and emotional well-being.
It's like giving your mind a break.
Exactly. And by reducing stress, you create a more balanced internal environment for your body to function.
It makes sense. It's all about finding harmony within ourselves.
That's a great way to put it. And that's what's so exciting about biohacking. It's a holistic approach to health that considers both the physical and mental aspects of our lives.
Well, this has been an incredible journey so far. We've covered so much ground already. I think maybe we should take a quick break here and come back to wrap things up in part two.
Sounds good. We'll leave our listeners with something to think about while we're gone. What do you think about how all of these different biohacking techniques might work together? Like how do they all fit together?
Ooh, that's a good question. All right, folks, we'll be back soon to dive even deeper into the world of biohacking. And we're back. That last segment was pretty mind-blowing, right? We talked about so many different ways to improve our health.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see how much biohacking has grown in recent years.
Yeah,
More and more people are taking an active role in their own well-being.
totally. And the thing I love about biohacking is that it's all about experimentation.
Yeah,
You get to be like a detective figuring out what works best for your body.
that's a great way to put it. It's about taking ownership of your health and becoming the expert on your own body.
Okay, so let's go back to some of those biohacking techniques we discussed in the first segment. We talked about sleep optimization, but I want to dive a little deeper into why it's so important.
Well, sleep is like the foundation of good health. When you sleep, your body can finally focus on repairing and regenerating itself.
Right, it's like hitting the reset button for our bodies and minds.
Exactly. And if we're not getting enough quality sleep, we're basically shortchanging ourselves in every aspect of our health.
So it's like trying to run a car without ever changing the oil or getting a tune-up.
That's a great analogy. And that's why those simple sleep optimization techniques are so important. Things like controlling your sleep environment, dimming the lights, using blue light blocking glasses.
Mm.
All of these little tweaks can help you get a deeper, more restorative sleep.
And speaking of creating a relaxing environment for ourselves, let's talk more about stress management. We briefly touched on practices like meditation, deep breathing, and mindfulness. But why are they so important for biohacking?
Well, stress is a huge problem for so many people these days. It can really wreak havoc on our bodies and minds.
Yeah, for sure. I know when I'm stressed, I don't sleep well. I eat more junk food, and it's harder to focus on anything.
Exactly. Stress can disrupt hormone balance, impair cognitive function, weaken the immune system, and even accelerate the aging process.
Wow, that's scary. So it sounds like we should be doing everything we can to manage our stress levels.
Absolutely. And the great thing about practices like meditation and mindfulness is that they're accessible to everyone. You don't need any special equipment or training to get started.
Yeah, it's like having a built-in stress relief tool right in our own minds.
Exactly. Now let's talk about nootropics. We talked about how they can enhance cognitive function, but I want to get a little more specific about how people are using them.
Okay, so give us some examples of how nootropics are being used in real life.
Well, some people use them to improve their focus and concentration at work or school. Others use them to boost their memory and learning abilities. And some people even use nootropics to enhance their creativity and problem-solving skills.
It sounds like there's a nootropic for almost everything, but again, it's important to remember that they're not a magic solution.
Right. They work best when combined with a healthy lifestyle. Getting enough sleep, eating a balanced diet, exercising regularly.
Makes sense. Now let's talk more about intermittent fasting. We discussed some of the benefits, but I want to get a better understanding of how it actually works on a cellular level.
Okay, so when you fast, your body goes through a process called autophagy, which we talked about earlier.
Hmm.
Remember, it's like your body's internal recycling system.
Hmm.
So basically, when you fast, your cells start to break down and recycle old or damaged components. It's like cleaning house and making way for new healthy cells.
So by not eating for a period of time, we're actually giving ourselves a chance to clean up and repair themselves.
Exactly. And this process of autophagy has been linked to all sorts of amazing benefits like reduced inflammation, improved insulin sensitivity, and even protection against neurodegenerative diseases.
Wow, it's incredible how much power our bodies have to heal themselves when we just give them a little break.
It really is. And that's what I love about biohacking.
Yeah.
It's about discovering these incredible self-healing mechanisms within our own bodies.
So it's not just about forcing our bodies to do things they weren't designed to do. It's about working with our natural systems to unlock our full potential.
Precisely. Now, with all that said, it's important to remember that biohacking is a personalized journey. What works for one person might not work for another.
That's a great point. So how do you recommend people get started with biohacking? It can seem a bit overwhelming with so many different techniques and practices out there.
You're right, it can be a bit overwhelming. I always tell people to start small and focus on the fundamentals, like optimize your sleep experiment with stress-reducing practices and pay attention to your nutrition.
So start with the basics and build from there.
Exactly. And as you start to make progress, you can gradually explore more advanced biohacking techniques like nootropics or intermittent fasting.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it's also important to remember that biohacking isn't a quick fix. It's about making sustainable lifestyle changes.
Yeah, you're not going to see results overnight. It takes time and consistency to really optimize your health.
And patience.
Right. And it's important to approach biohacking with a balanced perspective. It's not about becoming obsessed with optimization or pushing yourself to extremes.
It's about finding what works best for you and incorporating it into your life in a way that feels sustainable and enjoyable.
Absolutely. Ultimately, biohacking is about empowering yourself to take control of your health and well-being.
This has been such an amazing conversation. We've covered so much ground, and I feel like I've learned so much about biohacking.
Me too. It's been a great discussion.
But before we wrap up, I have one final question for you. We've talked a lot about individual biohacking, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the future of biohacking as a field.
Ooh, that's a great question. I think we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with biohacking. As technology continues to advance and our understanding of the human body deepens, we're going to see some truly amazing breakthroughs.
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities. So, what are some of the trends that you're most excited about?
The one area I'm particularly fascinated by is the intersection of biohacking and artificial intelligence. AI algorithms can analyze your personal data, like your genetics, your microbiome, your lifestyle habits, and create a truly customized biohacking plan just for you.
Wow, that sounds incredible. It's like having a personal health coach that knows you better than you know yourself.
Exactly. And I also think we'll see a greater emphasis on preventative healthcare through biohacking. Instead of waiting for disease to strike, we can use these tools and techniques to identify potential risks and take proactive steps to optimize our health and longevity.
That's a really powerful vision. It's about shifting from a reactive approach to health to a proactive one.
Precisely. But with all these advancements, it's important to remember that biohacking isn't a magic bullet. It's about making sustainable lifestyle changes that support our overall well-being.
Right, it's not a quick fix.
Exactly. And it's crucial to approach biohacking with a sense of balance and responsibility. It's not about pushing ourselves to extremes or becoming obsessed with optimization.
It's about listening to our bodies, respecting our individual limits, and making informed choices that support our long-term health and well-being.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So to wrap up this amazing deep dive, what's one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I would say this biohacking is a journey, not a destination. It's about continually exploring, experimenting, and learning more about our own bodies and minds. It's about taking ownership of our health and well-being and embracing the power we have to optimize our lives.
That's a beautiful message. So to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring the fascinating world of biohacking. Start with small, sustainable changes. Listen to your body and never stop learning. And who knows? Maybe someday you'll be sharing your own biohacking discoveries with the world.
That would be fantastic. It's an exciting time to be part of this movement, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for biohacking.
And with that, we've reached the end of our biohacking deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed the journey, and we'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration into the world of knowledge and discovery. Until then, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep biohacking your way to a healthier, happier you. And we're back for our final segment exploring the world of biohacking. I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty energized after all this talk about optimizing our health.
Yeah, me too. It's really inspiring to see how many people are taking control of their well-being and looking for ways to improve their health and performance.
It really feels like a total shift in how people think about health. It's not just about treating illnesses anymore, it's about proactively optimizing our bodies and minds.
Absolutely. And technology is playing a huge role in that shift too. We have wearables, genetic testing, personalized nutrition plans. All these tools give us so much information about ourselves and help us make smarter decisions about our health.
Yeah, it's like we're finally starting to understand our bodies on a deeper level. So before we wrap up this deep dive, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the future of biohacking. Where do you think this movement is headed?
Oh, that's a great question. I think we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with biohacking. As technology gets even more advanced and we learn more about the human body, I think we're going to see some truly incredible breakthroughs in health optimization.
That's so exciting to think about. Are there any specific predictions or trends that you're particularly excited about?
Well, one area that I'm really fascinated by is the intersection of biohacking and artificial intelligence. Imagine AI algorithms that could analyze your personal data, like your genetics, your microbiome, your lifestyle habits, and then create a totally customized biohacking plan just for you.
Wow, that sounds amazing. It's like having a personal health coach that knows you better than you know yourself.
Exactly. And I also think we'll see a much bigger emphasis on preventative healthcare through biohacking. Instead of waiting until we get sick, we can use these tools and techniques to identify potential risks and take steps to optimize our health and hopefully live longer, healthier lives.
That's a really powerful idea, shifting from a reactive approach to health to a proactive one. But with all these advancements in biohacking, it's important to remember that it's not a quick fix or a magic bullet, right?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
not about finding some easy shortcut to perfect health.
Yeah.
It's about making sustainable lifestyle changes that support our overall well-being.
Yeah, it's about making gradual changes over time and building healthy habits that will last.
Exactly. And it's crucial to approach biohacking with a sense of balance and responsibility. It's not about pushing ourselves to extremes or becoming obsessed with optimization.
It's about listening to our bodies, respecting our individual limits, and making choices that support our long-term health and well-being.
I couldn't agree more. Biohacking should be about empowering ourselves to take control of our health, not about feeling pressured to achieve some impossible standard of perfection.
Well said. So, as we wrap up this incredible deep dive, what's one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I would say biohacking is a journey, not a destination. It's about constantly exploring, experimenting, and learning more about ourselves and our bodies. It's about taking ownership of our health and well-being and realizing that we have the power to optimize our lives.
That's a wonderful message. So, to all of our listeners out there, we encourage you to keep exploring this fascinating world of biohacking. Start with small, sustainable changes, listen to your body, and never stop learning. And who knows? Maybe someday you'll be sharing your own amazing biohacking discoveries with the world.
I love that. What an inspiring thought. It really is an exciting time to be part of this movement, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for biohacking.
And with that, we've reached the end of our biohacking depth dive. We hope you enjoyed the journey and learned some valuable insights along the way. We'll see you next time for another exciting exploration into the world of knowledge and discovery. Until then, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep biohacking your way to a healthier, happier you.